Hello, good evening, and welcome to Become a Better Man. My name is Tunde Disu. Thank you for taking the time out to be part of today's program, and I hope you've had a great week so far. Looking forward to tomorrow being the beginning of the weekend. We are going to continue or try to wrap up what we started last week, talking about how to apologize or apologies in general. And we looked at different aspects of apology, how to give you what it means and things like that. But just as a quick recap, we said the purpose of giving or saying sorry, the purpose of apologizing is not just to say sorry. It's not just for you to have the platform to explain the past or to talk about what had happened. But the purpose of apology is it's a demonstration of the value that you place on the relationship, and because there's been a tension, there's been a rift or a tear apart, as it were, you are saying sorry, you are using your apology to bring wholeness to the relationship, to bring everything back as much as possible to where it was. Also, the purpose of apology is to demonstrate that you have learned your lessons. You have learned the lesson from the wrong or the error of your judgment, of your words, of your thought, or whatever it is that you have done or said to hurt the other person in the relationship. So the essence, the power, the purpose rather of apologies, it's not just to say sorry. It's not just to dwell on the past, but number one, to signal, to send a message to the other party of how much value you place on that relationship. And number two, to also demonstrate that you've learned your lessons. You've learned your ways of wrongdoings, and you are willing. The third aspect is that you now come up with a convincing promise that you're going to be of good behavior going forward. You have to convince the other person that I'm not just saying sorry so that you can let me off of this error. Rather, I'm saying sorry, I value our relationship. I'm saying sorry, I've learned my lessons. I'm saying sorry as a way of me promising you that going forward, this will not be the story of our relationships again. So the general rules when it comes to apologizing, we said last week, was that it must be a demonstration of your acceptance of responsibility, of whether what you've said, what you've done, or what you haven't said, and whatever it is that has caused the tension between the two parties, and your fault is you are at fault, really. One of the general rules of apology is that you must come to a point where you accept responsibility for your actions or inactions. Number two, you must acknowledge also that what you said or what you did has caused harm or hurt to the other person. You have to recognize how you have hurt their feelings, how you have misrepresented them, how you have misquoted them, how you have portrayed them in a way or manner that is not a true representation of who they are. You must also factor in that part of making apologies is that you are promising future excellent behavior or excellent ways of carrying yourself. You must also offer an apology as quickly as possible. When you let it linger, when you avoid it, when you shy away from it, for whatever reason, you are allowing the situation to fester, to become bigger, to you are allowing other influences to get involved. And the more involved they get, the harder it becomes for both of you to reconcile, because now you have other factors that ideally shouldn't be there. So you must make an immediate remedy of your wrongdoings by apologizing as quickly as possible. And when you apologize, make sure it is sincere. Be sincere in your apologies. See, people can smell fakeness from 10 miles away. You know when somebody is not being real with you. You can deduce when somebody is just uttering words, but in their hearts there's a different thing. We all know when somebody is lying or being deceptive. So when you offer an apology, remember that this person can see if you are real or you're just wasting their time. So we looked at that last week. We also looked at the power of apology, or the benefit of apologizing. See, apology, like we said, is vital. It's one of the ways, or one of the best ways, to smooth any conflict between two parties, to reestablish the connection, to build the bridge back, to bring the two parties back into alignment, into agreement with each other. So apology will help you, like we said last week, to reduce relationship tension and stress, and it will move you from a place of conflict and tension to a place of peace and tranquility. Apology will do that for you, but it has to be done right. It has to be done properly. It has to be done on time for it to be effective. And when you apologize, and the person that you're apologizing has accepted, and the trust and the relationship has been restored, it brings the two of you to a point where you just put the past behind you. You move forward together. But more than that, it creates an avenue for both of you, especially for the other person, to have a greater tendency of overlooking your flaws. They will give you more benefit of the doubt. They will reason with you, even when you have not asked for it, when you have not expressed it. They will reason with you because they feel they know you better, and in your heart of heart, you're a good person. Another thing we looked at last week was the effect of good apologies. We said it will heal the wound for the other person. It will dissolve your own sense of guilt. It will help you develop a sense of self-respect and the ability to move on from what had happened in the past. It also serves as a deterrent. It's a reminder. You have it at the back of your mind. You can see the face or the reaction of the other person. So every time you are tempted, or every time you are susceptible to do the same thing or say the same thing that caused the issue in the past, you pull away from it. So it also acts as a deterrent for you from doing the same thing. And one other thing we looked at last week was, why is it so difficult for people to say sorry? Why do many of us, me included, why do we struggle with apologizing? Why is it a big deal for us to say sorry? And we looked at some of the reasons that people will use, or people have given, or that is holding people back from apologizing. And we said people don't like to apologize because they think when they apologize, it's an admission that they've done something wrong. Why that should be a struggle? Because you can see the other person is not happy, so you don't. It's not a rocket science. You don't need a divine revelation for you to know. But a lot of people struggles to apologize because they think it's an admission of being wrong. Some people see apology as a confirmation of guilt. And because they don't want to accept guilt, because they don't want to carry the weight and the responsibility of the guilt feelings, they would rather not apologize. Some people don't apologize because they think when you apologize, you are drawing attention to something that had happened in the past. It's in the past. Let's just move on from it. No. You've got to repair that bridge. You got to make it right. You got to make the other person whole before you can move on. Some people will not apologize. Some people will struggle with apologizing because they think the other person should apologize first. Because it takes two to tango. It's both of us in it. So why should I be the one to apologize first? Well, like we said last week, be the bigger person. Be the more mature person. Just go ahead and apologize. Some people struggles with apologies because they assume that by apologizing is a sign of weakness. It's a sign of being a sissy. It's a sign of not being a man and be macho and be full of... No. Not at all. Far from it. In fact, it's a sign of not just humility, not just responsibility, but it's a sign of maturity when you apologize. It's a sign that you value the other person more than you value your ego. Some people will not apologize or will struggle with apologizing because they think, well, there's no point because the other person is not going to forgive me anyway, so what's the point wasting my breath? Well, even if they've said in the past they won't forgive you, why you don't do your part? You do your part. You give the apology and let's leave it to them. Whether they accept it or not, it's not your issue. You do your part. So these are some of the things we looked at last week. So this week we're going to continue and hopefully try to wrap it up this week. And one of the things we want to look at this week is the fact that not every apology is actually an apology. Not every time somebody said, I'm sorry, is a true sense of recognition of the fact that they've wronged you, they've hurt you, and they want to make amends. In some instances, and we are all susceptible to this, in some instances, people use apology to manipulate you. I know you as soon as I said it, you remember. You can see the person's face that did that to you or the person that you did that to. Some people will say, I'm sorry, as a means to manipulate you. Yes, apologies and saying I'm sorry carries a lot of weight. But you see, saying you are sorry requires a level of vulnerability. It requires a level of humility. It requires a level of self-discipline for you to admit that you have done something wrong and that your action has caused a hurt to somebody else, and therefore you have taken the responsibility to make it right with them. That is the summation of apology. But you see, in some unhealthy relationships, it could be friendship, it could be boss to subordinate, it could be husband and wife, it could be parents and child. In some relationships that are unhealthy, people use apologies to manipulate others. They use apologies to take advantage of the other person's They say they are sorry, but they are not really sorry. They say they are please forgive me, but they don't really need your forgiveness. How can we know this? What are some of the signs that we can pick up, that we can see, that we can observe? Now, you've done it, I've done it, we've all done it. And so we know what it looks like. We can see, we can taste, we can hear, we can smell what it looks like. But just for argument's sake, maybe there is a saint amongst us who has no knowledge of what this is. Let's help those people tonight. Because sometimes when people say, I'm sorry, what they're saying is completely different from what you're hearing. For example, when an apology is made out of selfishness, when an apology is made from a self-centered point of view, what they are saying to you is not that they are sorry. What they are saying to you is they're not giving you an apology. What they are saying is, I don't want to feel guilty anymore because this whole situation is making me feel guilty that you are hurting. So for my sake, for the sake of the guilt that I am feeling, I will just apologize to you so that I can be relieved of that responsibility. What such people, what they are saying in effect is, I feel guilty because of what had happened. And that guilt is not feeling good on my flesh. So I'm going to say sorry to you so that I can feel good. I can feel better. That sense of guilt can be lifted off me. Do you know anybody like that? Have you done that before? Where it is for a selfish, personal satisfaction reason that you're saying sorry, so that they can feel free from guilt. So the first one we're saying is, some people will say sorry. They will declare sorry. They will apologize 1,000 times. But at the core of their apology, there's a selfish motive behind it. They're not apologizing because they believe they've hurt you. They're apologizing because the way you are feeling is making them feel guilty, and because they want that sense of guilt to be lifted off them, they will apologize to you. I know not many hands will go up. Not many people will agree or signify. But the truth is, we all are as guilty as charged. Another way of people using apology to manipulate you. They say they are sorry, but that is not actually what they're saying. Another one is where people use apology as a means to end a dispute. Not because they want the dispute to end, because they just want to avoid talking about it. And sometimes it's because they just don't care about you. What they are saying in effect is not that they were sorry. It's not that they are sorry. What they are saying is, this conversation is over. You may not have anything else good to do with your time, but I do. And as far as I'm concerned, this conversation is over. Bye. So they will say sorry, not because they're sorry, not because they will apologize, not because they are sorry, but because they are avoiding dealing with the situation at hand. And they just want to shut your mouth. They will say things like, look, I am bored. I'm really tired of this disagreement. So I'm going to use these words to end it because I can't carry on like this. Now, I may not even believe whether what I'm saying, what this sorry that I'm saying is effective or not. But that's not the point. The point is, I don't want to have this conversation no more. We need to drop it here. And if all it takes to stop this conversation going on and going on and going on is for me to say sorry, I will say sorry just to keep your mouth shut. Do you know anybody like that? Have you tried that before? Have you practiced that? Is that one of your secret weapons? Another way that people will use apology to manipulate you and take advantage of you is they use apology as a method of appeasement, but the goal is to control you. They use apology as a method of appeasement for one reason only: to control you. What they are saying is, in effect, is, I'm not sorry. I just want to be in charge of this whole conversation. I just want to dominate this space. I want to be in control of not just the situation, but you and everything around you. Example of that is they will come up with this lifestyle or the statement or some things along the line of, I'm telling you what you want to hear. Not because I mean it. Because I know that is what you want to hear. And if you hear what you want to hear, then you will do what I want you to do anyway. So just for me to have my way, just for me to control you, just for me to be in charge, just for me to take advantage of you, I know your soft spot. And I will just press the button that says, sorry. And then I will be in charge. Then I will take control. Then I will rule you. Then I will lead you. Then I will dominate you. Especially in a relationship. In many relationships, this is one of the big things in there. Because some people think, if you don't say sorry, if I am not apologizing to you, there's a high likelihood of an outcome that I don't want. You may say, well, that's it, we're finished. But I don't want to talk to you. Don't call me. And all of that. No, all of those things, sometimes they are just manipulative tactics. They're using I'm sorry as a tool to pull out what they need from you to hand over to them the key to your life so that they can be in charge of it to control you. Some people will use apology to manipulate you by shifting the blame to you. They will use I'm sorry as a mechanism to switch and carry the whole burden of blame, of responsibility of themselves and heap it on you. What they're saying in effect is not that they are sorry. They're saying you should be sorry. You should even count it a blessing that somebody like me will be dealing with you. I mean, you should. It's a privilege for you that somebody of my person, of my caliber, of my whatever, would even have this conversation with you. They will say it in such a way that you think less of yourself. You see less of yourself. You carry a sense of guilt and low self-esteem of yourself because you expect or you demand that they should apologize for something that they've done wrong. They will say it in a hostile way or in a sarcastic way that will get the message across to you that you should even count yourself blessed that you and I will breathe the same air. You know, sometimes these are the bridges upon which relationships, they get burnt or fall apart. But I said sorry. I did apologize. Yeah, you did. But did you apologize so that I can feel guilty for making you to apologize to me? Is that the purpose? Some people will manipulate you by saying sorry. This set of people, they are just terrible, wicked. They will say sorry to you, not because they have recognized the wrong they've done, not because they are remorseful, not because they want to repair the broken relationship. No, they will apologize to you to see how far they can take advantage of you. How more of this treatment can they put on you, knowing that the word "I'm sorry" will take care of it. And step by step by step by step, they are taking territories, they are taking advantage, they are taking you for granted. They are manipulating you. When they say sorry, they're not sorry, they're just testing whether you will accept. Because the moment you accept, it means that up to that point, whatever it is they've done, whatever it is they've said, you've okayed it. And that gives them the liberty, gives them the boldness to take the further, to go the next level, to take the next step in hurting you and maltreating you and really not caring for you. Such people, they are just nasty. Because what they're saying is, I know what will hurt you. I know what to do to really get you under a severe pain. But I'm going to do it because I enjoy watching you be in pain. I'm testing you to see what I can get away with. What you will not complain about, or even when you complain, the moment I said, look, I'm sorry, then you will let me carry on. They say, I'm sorry, but in the back of their minds, they just know, shit, yeah, I'm going to do that again. The only difference is the next time I do it, it is going to be at a higher level. It's going to be at a bigger proportion. It's going to be something more drastic and more something that will really touch you even deeper. They put the knife in, and instead of taking it out, they twist the knife and then push it back in further. The hidden meanings behind some of this ingenious "I'm sorry" is the same as "I'm not really sorry. I'm just saying I'm sorry because I just want you to know that you deserve what I've done. So I'm not really sorry. I'm just letting you know that this is how much I value you and the relationship or whatever it is between us." And so for them, they're enjoying it all the way. Because they are manipulators. They are false. They are pretending. They are actors and actresses. They should live in Hollywood or Nollywood or wherever. Every relationship that you are in, it's an avenue for you to get hurt. It's an avenue for you to be disappointed. It's an avenue for you to really you've put yourself in somebody else's hand, as it were, to do to you what will hurt you. But you see, true friendship through relationships, they understand the weight of what you have given to them when you agree or when you come into friendship or relationship with them. So instead of taking advantage of that, instead of hurting you, instead of breaking your trust, they will do everything humanly possible to preserve the trust that you've invested in them. Now, does that mean they will never before do something to upset you? Oh yes, they will. But you see, that will be the exception rather than the norm. But these manipulative, nasty people, oh, that's the name of the game with them. And so when they come and say, oh, I'm so sorry, no, they're not sorry. They're just taking advantage of you. Because when you look at it properly, when you dig deep into such people properly, the question you will be asking yourself is, was he really sorry? Did they really apologize? Was that really an apology, or was that just a mere justification of what they've done? And that is why in every relationship, don't get carried away with what people are saying only. Marry what they're saying with what they're doing. That is where you will find the true meaning of that relationship. Let me ask you this. Do you have any friend? Are you in any relationship, whether in the past, now, that having heard what we said about this manipulative, insincere apologies, can you identify somebody that has done any of that to you? Or have you been the perpetrator of such? Whichever one, there's room for change. There's room for change. If you are the one at the receiving end, you can change it by saying, thanks but no thanks. I don't want your apologies. Just do what you're supposed to do. And if you are the one that has been using some of these tactics to manipulate, to control, to dominate others, I hope something you've heard tonight or you will hear tonight will help you change your ways. Because people have entrusted you with their life, with their feelings, their emotions, and the least you can do is to preserve and protect it. Quickly, what is the mindset that you and I must have when we come to the point of apologizing? Because like we've just said, it is more than what you are saying. It is more than the words coming out of your mouth. It is also to do with your actions, your follow up and follow through. Those are the things that would demonstrate or show or indicate that you were truly sorry when you said you were sorry. Have you heard of the song, It's Hard to Say I'm Sorry? See, it is hard. Apology doesn't come easily to many of us, if not all of us, including me, of course. And the reason is because we get so wrapped up in our own self, in our own lives, in our own feelings, in our own ways, in our own views, that we don't consider how we might be hurting other people how our words, our actions, our views, and the expression of all of that, how it might be affecting somebody else because we're so consumed with ourselves. You probably have heard people say, we judge others by their actions, but we judge ourselves by our own intentions. We judge others by their actions. I can't believe they did that. Why would he say that? Why would she go there? What can she not? Can they not see? Can they not read? Can it? But when it comes to you, when it comes to me, we're like, you see, this is what my plans are. This is my intention. This is what I had in mind. This were my thought process. If you would judge others the way you judge yourself, and if you would judge yourself the way you judge others, many of us will be delivered from this issue of apologies or no apology. So, how then do you coin? How do you phrase? How do you come to a point where you can actually render a true, genuine, proper apology to somebody? How do you do that? What are some of the things that you must prepare in your mind and go through in your head and put together for you to present a whole, reasonable, proper apologies in order for it to be accepted? The first thing you have to do is to acknowledge that what you've done or what you did was wrong. Now, that may sound like, oh yeah. No. But you see, like I've just said, we are all too engrossed in ourselves. So much so that when it is pointed out to us, some of us will even argue and fight over it. That's not true. That's not what I said. That's not what I mean. You should have asked me. We try to justify. We try to explain it away. What we say, but that's just a small thing I said. I mean, it shouldn't cause all these kifafos. No. Don't determine how other people feel about what you've said or what you've done. It is for them to tell you. And humility says when they tell you, don't try to, number one, negate what they've said or explain it away or belittle it. No. Maturity says when they say that, oh really? I'm so sorry you feel that way. That wasn't my intention, but you know what? All I can do is apologize. I'm sorry that it came across that way to you. Rather than saying, seriously? You see, you're dwelling over that? That was, I mean, I didn't mean that. I mean, that was just something I said casually. And you building a mountain out of an anthill. What's it all about? No. Because what you're saying is, I don't value you. I don't value this relationship. I can't be bothered how you feel because it's not important to me. And you can't be saying that with one mouth and be saying sorry with the same mouth on the other side. The two doesn't reconcile. So in order for your apology to be real, to be genuine, to be worthy of being accepted, approach it with a mindset that acknowledges the fact that you were wrong. Because if you were not wrong, we will not be having this tension. We will not be having this argument. We will not be having this quarrel or disagreement. When you accept when you acknowledge that you were wrong, and at the back of that, you are now offering sorry, it reduces the how can I say this? It helps the person that you're apologizing to hear you and to receive what your apologies and offer their forgiveness. When you come from a point where you acknowledge that, oh yeah, I did put my foot in there, I'm so sorry. Rather than saying, no, you can't say that. That's not what I meant. Well, that's what I heard. And that's how I feel about what I heard. So number one is to acknowledge that you were wrong. Number two, be sincere. Like I said, people can smell a fake, unreal apologies. You know it. When somebody is apologizing to you and you know they just buttering you up with margarine and Marmite and putting some marmalade on top. They're about to take a big bite. Be sincere. We live in a world where everything is superficial and everything is just half-baked and this and that. To the point where quality apologies is no longer the norm. It has become the exception. From everybody, from little one to the highest one. From all the leaders to the pastors to the government to the authority, everybody are so superficial. The sense of realness and genuine and sincerity is one of the things that just really just get under my skin is, and you've probably have heard this from politicians, celebrities, and people in authority. They've done something wrong. They've said something wrong. They've just really messed up big time. And now everybody is talking about it, and the Twitter is tweeting, and Facebook is facing, and and then these people, this person or whoever they are, they will come out to give an apology, and they'll say things like, I'm sorry if what I said hurt anybody. I'm sorry if I hurt you. And the next word you're going to hear is, but. I'm sorry if I hurt you, but you see, you don't understand where I'm coming from. Well, you're not sorry then. A true, sincere, and humble apology doesn't attempt to justify what they've done wrong. It doesn't matter what what reason you have. It's of little consequence of what was on your mind. We're not mind readers. We're not psychic. We can only hear what you are saying. We can only see what you are doing. And on that basis, we determine how that affects us. And how that, the effect of that, the impact of it on how we feel. So when somebody says you have done wrong, you've offended them, don't. Oh. I'm as guilty as charged, don't get me wrong, I'm not a saint. But I'm saying we can all do better. When you try to justify what somebody said you've done wrong that has hurt them, number one, it shows that you don't even recognize the person. And therefore you don't recognize this hurtful action that you've done, because in order for your hurtful action to have meaning, it has to have affected somebody. And because you can't see that somebody, what's the point? Anything multiplied by 0 is 0. It also demonstrates the fact that you're not willing to accept responsibilities, and because of that, the probability of you doing a different thing or doing it in a different way or changing or improving or getting better is 0. Another mindset that we must carry when we're apologizing is don't just say, I'm sorry, and then just, excuse me, then just leave it there. No. When you say, I'm sorry, then ask for their forgiveness. Ask for their forgiveness. Because when you ask for forgiveness, you give the other person the opportunity to respond and to react. Rather than just, I'm sorry. And then what? They'll say, fine. So fine what? Fine that you are sorry. Fine that you hurt me. Fine that I'm over it. What is fine? Because you haven't given them the platform, the opportunity to express something or anything to you. But when you say, look, I'm sorry, I'm so sorry, please forgive me. Would you please forgive me? When you ask for their forgiveness, now they're not going to say, fine. And then that's it. They'll say, fine. It's fine. Don't worry about it. I forgive you. Let's carry on. Now you know where they are. Rather than fine. And you're both wondering, fine what? Then what? Where's the next thing? And sometimes, when you say sorry, please forgive me, even when they've said yes to your apology, give them time, if that is what they need, to get to a point of forgiveness. Give them time, give them space, don't choke them. Don't put them in a place where they now feel like, yeah, you said sorry and you're not getting away until. No, give them time. When you give them time, it's a show of, it demonstrates the fact that you respect them and you allow them the freedom to come to that point of reconciliation with you. Because your apology is just an offer. It doesn't mean they will accept it or they will accept it there and then. And until an offer is accepted, no contract is established. And sometimes when you ask for forgiveness, they would still say, no, I ain't forgiving you, you rascal. That's fine. All you can do is to ask for. Leave the acceptance and the forgiveness. That is up to them. Another mindset that we should all have about apology, in order for it to be real, to be sincere and genuine, is don't think of apology as a winning or losing scenario. No, it's not. Nobody is winning. Nobody is losing. Have you seen or been, especially in a marriage relationship or any other relationships for that matter, there is an issue, there's a quarrel, there's been a disagreement somewhere. And instead of dealing with the situation, instead of finding the answer to the problem, the two parties are fighting about who is right. Well, I did that because of. You shouldn't have said that because. And everybody is trying to establish, I'm right, you are wrong. No. Apology is not about who is winning and who is losing. No, it's not like that. Apology simply means that I value this relationship more than my ego and my being right. Therefore, I am happy, I am willing, I am committed to sacrifice all of that on the platform that this relationship is reconciled and we are back on the same team. Many, many, many relationships, including, in fact, especially marriage relationships, have ended on this one mountain of trying to be right. You can win the battle, or you win the war, but you still, or how do they say it? You win the battle, but you still lost the war. Or you win the war, but you still lost the battle. What would being right, what would that give you compared to your marriage? Compared to your friendship? Compared to your relationship? Who cares if you're right or wrong? Even when you are wrong, the strength of the relationship will make it up to you, rather than to sacrifice everything on the platform of I'm right, you're wrong. Another thing you can do to apologize and do it right and do it properly is don't apportion blame. Don't apportion blame. In fact, this is one of the hardest hurdle to cross when it comes to making apologies, because it takes a lot of energy and courage and humility and everything to apologize. So somewhere along the line, there is the temptation, there is the eagerness to turn the apology into a blaming tool. How do we do that? You know, Samuel, I am so sorry for what happened. I mean, I am really sorry. But you see, if you had not said what you said, I wouldn't have reacted that way, and we wouldn't be having this fight. Well, which one is it? Are you apologizing, or are you blaming Samuel? Now, you may have to come back and deal with what Samuel said, but right now, what Samuel said is not the issue, the conversation that's on the table. Deal with what is on the table. Don't use the vehicle of apology and divert it or have a branch out of it so that you can apportion blame to somebody. No. Or I wouldn't have said what I said. I wouldn't have done what I did if only you. No. Leave that to them to be mature, to have enough sense to re-examine and reassess themselves, and then come back and apologize, because they too can see their wrong way. Another thing you have to bear in mind when it comes to apology is sometimes, depending on the issue, saying I'm sorry once it won't cut it. Oh no, shoot, no, nah, nah. Depending on the gravity of your offense, you can't just say I'm sorry once and think that's the end of it. Sometimes one sorry just is not good enough. It's not strong enough. It's not convincing enough. It's not scratching where it is itching yet. So sometimes you will have to say sorry over and over and over and over again. And I know people we all get easily frustrated. What else do I have to do? I've said sorry 4 times already. How many times do I have to kill myself for you to? Again, when you see your apology as an offer, it is an offer. It's a proposal. It's a proposition. It's a bait, as it were, to see if the other person will accept it. Just because you throw a line into the lake doesn't mean all the big fish in the lake will come running to it. No, they have to be in a position of hunger and thought, and just look at the bait and think, that will satisfy my hunger. Let me go and get it. And then they got hooked up. But just because you said sorry doesn't mean it has been accepted. And just because you've said it 3 times in the last 2 weeks doesn't mean that's the end of it. You cannot legislate for how the other person feels and how or when they will accept your apology. Yours is to give it. It's for them to accept it or throw it back at your face. So sometimes you will have to apologize over and over and over and over and over and over again. Because expecting things to go back to the way they were just because you've said sorry, it's an unrealistic expectation. In some instances, it's laughable. Because an apology, for it to be worthy of the word, there must be some sign of contrition on your part. There has to be a sense of remorse, a sense of, I feel the pain that you're going through on your side, and mean that sincerely and genuinely, for the other person to think or to feel that their anger and their pain is being appeased. You've been caught with your hand in the cookie jar, and you think just saying sorry, even when you were growing up, just saying, "Mommy, I'm sorry," it's not enough sometimes. She will say, "Okay, I hear you're sorry, but I'm still going to tell your father when he comes back." "Oh, but Mommy, I've said sorry." "Yeah, I said I've heard you're sorry, but I'm still going to whoop your tail tonight before you sleep." Another way by which you can really say you're sorry and really make it carry the weight is for you to not just say I'm sorry. No, it's for you to also show or say how going forward you are going to change. What else are you going to do to change? What else can you tell me that is going to change about the situation, about your reactions, about your thoughts, and the expression of your words towards me? What is going to be different? What other things can I look forward to in this relationship to show me that you are actually sorry? Because to be sorry means you have come to a point of acknowledging that you were wrong. You have accepted the responsibility that you've caused hurt or harm to the other person, and you are willing to make amends. And so if the willingness to make amends is not visible, it's not viable, it's not on the table, your apology is as good as water on a duck's back. It's just washed away. You know it. You probably have said it. Or somebody, you've heard it said. Your apology is meaningless to me unless there are some tangible, quantifiable, and reasonable, measurable change. Then I will know you're sorry. And that is why it is so vital that when you say sorry to somebody, don't just say sorry and leave it there. give them a reason or a plan of what you're going to do differently going forward. Somebody said, but what if they don't forgive you? That's their problem. Again, just because you ask doesn't mean it will be given to you. That's up to the other person to give it. And when you have apologized and you've shown your remorse, you've shown this, you've done that, and they still don't forgive you or tell you that they've forgiven you, then you must wonder and assess the situation. Because sometimes it's not that they don't want to forgive you. Sometimes they just need more time. They need more time to process the situation and the event and your apologies and everything before they come to a point of saying, okay, that's fine. So in a situation where you sense, you perceive that this person needs more time, just say, I understand that you need time. I'm committed. I'm willing to wait and give you all the time you need. I just want you to know that whenever that is, I will be here waiting. Sometimes people don't say, I forgive you immediately because they just think your sorry is not good enough, or it's not strong enough, or it's just not really addressing the issue. Even in your mind, even though in your mind you are thinking this is everything pulled together. And if they're still hesitating, in a situation like that, you say, all you can say is, look, I'm so sorry. But what I'd like to know is, what else can I do to bring it to a point where you feel satisfied? Is this something we need to discuss further? Is this something we need to bring in a third party? Or do we need to just have a punch up about it and then everybody is happy? It demonstrates to the other person how far you are willing to go to repair the damage and make amends for the relationship. But sometimes you've said all the apologies and everything else you can say, you can do, and the other person they won't budge. They just flat out say, on your bike, mate. Irrespective of what you do, some people will still tell you, no, not for me. In a situation like that, your conscience is clear that you've done what you can do. Just let them know, fine, I'll let it be, but just let you know, I am truly sorry. And whenever and if ever you come to a point where you feel you can forgive me, I'll be waiting, because this relationship means a lot to me. It means as much as that to me. And I'm committed to wait. I'm willing to do and be here. Sit at your front door if I have to for the next 3 years. Because that's how much this relationship means to me. When you've done all of that, when you've said all of that, when you have fulfilled all righteousness, all you can do is leave it to them. Leave it to them. Because at the end of the day, you can't make people do what they don't want to do. You can't force people, because when you force them, that is controlling spirit. And that could put their back against the wall even harder than the situation at hand. So, when it comes to apology and saying sorry, it takes a lot of courage. It takes a lot of courage, number one, to admit that you've made a mistake. Number two, to acknowledge that you've hurt the other person. Number three, to have the humility to apologize for what you've done. It takes a lot of courage. And that is why, in some instances, apologizing is very scary. But in the long run, the question you must ask and answer is this relationship worth more to me than my ego? Is this relationship, does it have enough value or more value in it to me than my being right? And that is what ultimately will help you determine how far you should go, what else you can do, who else you can talk to, so that this broken bridge can be mended, reconciled, and the two parties brought back together. Amen. When we do this, we will have a peaceful, loving, happy, enjoyable, and memorable friendship and relationships. Because ultimately, we need one another. God bless you. I'll see you again next week. Bye-bye.